cool concepts that we are going to cover today. Also, just to let you know, I've done quite a lot of uploading of sessions, of previous sessions onto YouTube. So I've scanned them for, if there's any personal information or anything like that that guys have. There's nothing really that's going to be too incriminating for anybody on this on the YouTube channel. So if you want to go back and actually look at some of the previous sessions, it's all there in one place. It takes a shit long time actually to, excuse my language, it takes quite a while to upload it all to YouTube, but I've got it back until about September. So we've got about 12, 13, maybe I think 16 sessions up on YouTube. Okay. Which is actually quite cool.
Yeah, that's epic. Yeah, but I can imagine that's a ton of work to get all that done.
Yeah, and it was actually quite an experience, because going back and seeing how much stuff we've covered and how much growth there's been with all the different guys, and again, like France mentioned it, we don't realize the value that we're just like flipping unloading here, and when you go back and see it, you're like, oh, that was actually pretty good. I mean, we can actually be pretty proud of this thing. So yeah, it was a great exercise.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And what I am also going to do is, once they're in YouTube, you can then use the editor to like cut little clips out, and obviously just make them. You can make them shorter. You can edit out all the silences and all that kind of stuff, and actually create some really cool sort of mixes of these videos. And I'm busy training a little bit of myself on how to do that, incorporating AI to actually do it. But anyway, yeah. So yeah. Here we are, session 42. Can you believe it? Hey, nearly a full year of sessions coming up. So actually, so it's exactly 10 weeks, and we'll have a full year of sessions in the Aviation Wealth Club, and I'm super proud of it. There's Rob lying about the size of the fish that he caught. So thank you, Rob, for all of your input over the last couple of sessions. And then just a reminder, what is the Aviation Wealth Club? The Aviation Wealth Club is something that's built on 3 pillars. We've got exclusive events, not your ordinary networking events. I must just tell you that we've got some serious stuff happening this year. It's going to be mind-blowing, and we're busy putting a calendar together. And I do want to hear from you guys, you, Leon, as well, new members that are coming in, existing members. What do you want to see on the events calendar? What kind of thing will excite you guys to make sure that you get value, and to not to yourself, but to bring that value to the other network members, and the Aviation Wealth Club as a whole. And then, of course, there's business acceleration. So each week we've got mind-blowing content from Rob Yates that helps you grow your business. And then, of course, we've got niche investments advice specific to aviation professionals. So your private pilots, your commercial pilots, which we've got 2 of in this room. Hey, Leanne. And then we're also just going to be pulling back the curtain on the ordinary and the not so ordinary of where you could put your money to make it grow well into the future.
I have an idea of where you can include your niche investments and an event into one.
Yeah.
Make it a shooting day in terms of like firearm investments. Yeah, we always go out for a shooting day, but the discussion is around the growth or what firearms to look for investment purposes, and so forth.
Eugene, are you in the business of blowing people's minds today?
It seems that way. Yes, I'm on a roll.
Yeah, but
no, write that down.
I'm writing it down.
Shooting day. On the roll. I've been stuck on a bun my whole life.
Shooting day with gun investments.
Yeah.
That's
out there, man.
That is exactly the kind of thing we're looking for. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So everyone, Eugene has set the bar. So please, come to the party. Nice one. All right. And just to remind you, the aviation value stack, just the coaching that you get in this Aviation Wealth Club on a 24,000 Rand investment is worth 380,000 Rand per year. And just that is a 1,580% return on the money that you invest into the Aviation Wealth Club. So that was the original investment that members got, or members input to the Aviation Wealth Club for their first year of membership. And the new rates are coming out. Also, there's going to be a really cool offer of how to get into the Aviation Wealth Club by not spending too much money and getting more value out. So there's a big value stack coming, but just so you know, just the coaching is already 1,500% value that you get on your ROI. Tell us, who's had a win in the last 7 days since we last met? Take it away. Who's got a win?
I've got a pretty nice win. Mapped out my content strategy, moving up to the PFMS launch in 38 days. And one of the first things was to kind of rattle the cage, just to get interest and eyes on. The very first post I put out on LinkedIn for that got 70,000 impressions. And it's still growing every day. And that has generated, I think, over 400 people doing the scorecards, and I think I'm on like just over 100 connection requests, and like over 400 profile views. So that's massive.
Insane. And I mean, that's one post that's blown up. But I just want everyone to know that it doesn't just work like that. It's not just like, let's put one post up and it blows up. France has been consistently posting, I think, 2 or 3 times a day on LinkedIn with some good grammar, but like really like hard-hitting facts and like good questions, and like I don't know if you've seen it. If you guys, I'm sure I think all of you guys have seen it, but it's like it's got a great hook. You read the first 2 lines of I want to read more, I go and I check it out, and obviously I'm sharing it because I like France, but the point is that consistency and that thought process and that sort of I'm going to say consistent messaging over and over and over again, and then once you then drop what France is talking about, the PFMS, which is the finance management management system, PFMS, and it's like it all kind of comes to a bit of a head, and then it explodes. So like a nice big volcano. So that's excellent work, France. It's super commendable, and something that we can all work towards. It's actually not that difficult. It's just a little bit of, I know it's definitely good work and it's smart, but it's actually like, it's just consistency. It's just putting it out there and carrying on and over it and cupping away at it. So very nice, super impressive.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, on the pilot FMS, something that I'm thinking of, France, that you can maybe include for the like the emergency fund and so on, is to rename it like into what is your reserve fuel, and your use fuel terms to describe, is it your, what's your Mayday fuel, what's your reserve fuel, when are you going to call, so what do you need to protect, what can you kind of delve into, what's extra, and so forth. I don't know, when that was described to me that way, it's like, oh, okay, so the penny instantly dropped as to what I could use and what was, this is not, we're not going to cross this line.
Yeah, thanks. That's great. One of the things we've got that I think Alex McPhail actually came up with this little tagline, and I think it goes something like your destination alternate intact. I thought that was
Okay.
quite nice.
Yeah, that's also a nice description. Yeah, because it immediately triggers to what you're used to from a daily work point of view, what's going to kill you and whatnot when you run out.
Yeah, flat out.
Nice. Okay, good stuff. Thanks, France. Who's got a win? Who else has got a win for us?
No, but pretty much ops normal. Yeah, we did the Luanda Express ran again on Friday.
Nice.
That's after, as I was talking to France, that got activated, and it was quite a lekker flight. Yeah, did some got some cool pics from thunderstorms in the evening. Otherwise it was a lekker trip out.
Beautiful. Share those pics on the group. We'd love to see them.
Okay, cool.
Leon, how about you?
I think my goal sort of for the year, and I told you that last week on the phone, David, was to just get back into the swing of networking and surrounding myself with the aviation industry. Obviously, it's an industry that I need to go into, and I'm here, so I'm guessing that's a first win. So I secured my first invite to a networking event, so that's cool. And I've been hanging out at some of the airports and some of the guys from Flying Eyes days, like just rekindling some relationships and stuff. So I think that's a win, like a move in the right direction in that sense. So happy with that.
Very nice, Leon. Yeah. Leon's got a couple of wins from the last couple of months, though. Tell us two big ones about some market movers in your world.
Well, so the first one is I got engaged. So that's probably a cool one. We've got a massive shipment from China yesterday for half of our wedding stuff that arrived. So that's pretty cool. So that's a big one.
Half of your what stuff?
Wedding stuff, so wedding stationery and things like that, stuff that we getting to prep for the wedding. So that arrived and it's all intact and it's working. So that's cool. Nice. I finally got my comp last year, towards the end of November. So after I think 6 or 7 years of fighting and trying to get to it eventually. So but got there in the end. So I'm very, very stoked with that. That's very cool.
Congratulations. A commercial license and a ring on your finger, a ring on her finger. Congrats.
Yep, exactly. So nice. It was a big year, a big end of the year. So it's very cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well done. So my recent win is that I am under 22% body fat, which is like a first for me since I was 18 or 19 even. And the other win is that I've also got a very nice content strategy going with the Aviation Wealth Club stuff. I've got a fantastic content strategy with all my Pilot Insure newsletters that I've already written for the whole year. And that whole framework is ready to just roll out. So we're looking good for that to start early next week. So I am cooking with avgas, some might say. Very nice. Good stuff. We've all been winning. Tell us a little bit more. So the upcoming events and the day updates. 2026 calendar is busy currently being formed. We've already got a fantastic idea from Eugene. And just let me know. Like if you have any other ideas, if it is fishing in the Zambezi or zip lining or jet skiing or something fun that you guys want to do that you think that we could fly to, go and do, learn a bit of business, have some fun, great networking, and then fly home. That's the kind of format that we're looking at. So keep those ideas flowing. Okay. And post them on the group. We never know who's on there and what we can and who might have a good contact to be able to figure it all out. So let us know. Another quick one. Leon, why did you show up today?
Because you threatened me if I didn't.
There you go.
The actual truth.
I'm very good at that. All right. Eugene's got the same thing. It's in his friendship contract with me. He has to be here every week. So okay.
Section 7, subsection E, I think.
Subsection 6.7 for sure.
I watched the the episode of last week, the first one. You guys obviously sent it out on the group.
Yes.
And like I said, my goal was to get involved in the aviation industry in any way, shape, or form that I can this year again. Last year was a bit of a hit away and just finish the comm and get that out the way. And so this after the session last week, obviously Rob gave lots of good advice. I'm in business as well, so like Rob gave very good advice, and the guys, and I know most of the guys will recognize their faces, and it's all guys in the industry, so it's just made sense for me to, if I get involved somewhere, for this to be a good starting point, to get to know the guys and to learn a lot. So that's 100% why I'm here, and that's why I reached out to you, and you said you're welcome, come in. I'm supposed to bring someone, so I was like, cool, I'll be that someone.
Nice, well done. There's a big growth strategy that's going to be happening for the Aviation Wealth Club this year, and it's all going to tie in very beautifully. So lots to learn, lots to earn, and lots to give back as well. So very nice. Thanks, Leon. Everybody's renewals. So existing members are going to be renewing this year. First one's coming up in March, towards the beginning of March, and then throughout the year. So just remember, I'm going to be booking time with each of you to discuss your renewal, see what you want, see how it must work for you, and how we get this Aviation Wealth Club to be the best thing that you've ever done in your life. So keep that in mind, and I will be in touch. Right. We spoke about business continuity the other day. We touched on it when we were talking about some of the principles that make you money. So it was a 3-part series that I did last year, towards the end of last year, where we discussed Alex Hormozi's 10 principles that make you money. And one of the things that emerged from it was business continuity, and how that looks for a business owner, not just in South Africa, but all over the world. And currently, we are looking at the biggest wealth transfer that has ever taken place. One of the reasons for that is that there's a huge amount of boomers, and I say that in the nicest way, is continuity, that's spelled correctly. There's a huge amount of people that are aged between sort of 55 to 70 at the moment that have spent the last 50 years of their lives building businesses that are of a significant value now. That's all over the world. And population growth in those countries, and I'm not so sure about South Africa, but definitely in the US and Europe, is slowing. Okay, which means there's a top-heavy imbalance of wealth currently, and that is needing to be transferred downwards to the younger generations. So I wish I could call myself one of those younger generations. I still feel like I am, but I'm actually in the sort of generation before it, and it's now France, you, me, and the other guys in the club are very much at the point of it's now or never. Like, it's the responsibility is ours to make sure that value is not destroyed. It needs to come down and be transferred to us or to our generation in the most efficient way. Okay, and so these are some of the terms that actually come up when you think about transfer of wealth. Is how much of me in my business, the S&Me 500, how much do I contribute to the business, and why is that a bad thing? The other thing is, the next point is scionship. And scionship is basically like everyone just believes that they're going to own a business and they're going to have a kid that's going to be able to take over the business, and we pass that on through the scion, okay, your son or your kids. And it's a fallacy. It's an out and out lie that happens in an effective way. It does happen for some people, but the majority of people, and I'm going to get to that point, the kids don't do what the parents want to do. They don't give a shit. Excuse my language. The other one is then of transfer of shares. So if you die or become disabled, or there's no effective way to get your shares valued and that value transferred to the people that you leave behind. Okay, so there's a big problem with that. And then there's a big problem with, okay, but if I do want to retire, or if I do exit the industry either abruptly or over a certain amount of time, how does that person that I want to give the business to or transfer those shares to, how do they give me the money? Where do they get that money from? Okay, so there's a bit of an issue there. And then there's obviously funding of the transition, and then there might still be debts and all those kinds of things. So these are big problems that transfer of wealth deals with. Okay. And so they're lucky for you watching this video. We've mapped out the whole process, and there's a very followable, I don't know if that's a word, but a very understandable process of how to exit your business and make sure that you get all the value that you've been putting into this business over your life, and then that the business remains a going concern, and that the next generation can then use that business in the value and maintain the value that it is, and then grow it and fund their lifestyles and their families and all the people that they employ. Okay, so we've got this 5-step process. Well, I'm going to highlight the whole process here in the presentation, and the first one is obviously the reality check. Where are you? Like, let's actually value this thing now and design and decide where we're at and where we're going. Okay, and then the next one is, are you self-employed or are you an actual business owner, and how does that look? Okay, some people quit their jobs and then basically just start working for a maniac, and that's themselves, because they're then working 24 hours a day and they can't exit. They're just working in their business instead of on their business. All right, and then the next thing we're going to look at is the 5-step protocol. So how do you actually take 5 steps over the next 3 to 5 years and actually create the situation of how you get out of your business in an efficient and effective way? Okay, and extracting the value. And then we're going to look at how does this apply to us as in the Wealth Club. Who are we and in our businesses, and how can we use that 5-step protocol practically in our own businesses? And then I want us all to think about the actual challenge is going to come up the end. So keep watching. All right. The challenge is where it all lies, guys, just so you know. So the reality check is there's a disaster currently happening. Value is being destroyed. All right. And it's, I'm sure you'll see, I don't know if you've seen any videos about it on YouTube or on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. But basically, at best, you can transfer about 70% of the value to your son, okay, or your kid or your daughter, or whoever wants to take over the business. That's the best case scenario, that they take over, and there's, through taxes and through all sorts of other inefficient structures, about 20 to 30% of the value of the business is lost. Okay, and those can all very easily be mitigated. Okay, and the reason is why. That's to one generation. Leave it unstructured. Leave it without thinking about it, and let let's call the Gen Xs now just deal with it in their own way. So we're talking boomers have now tried to transfer to Gen Xs. The Gen Xs are like, okay, well, we've kind of fumbled this thing, but we're trying to work it. But the boomers are out. They don't care. They're like, I've got my money. I'm retired. I don't care what the generation below me does. And that going unchecked then creates, when the Gen Xs want to transfer to Millennials, which is sort of me in France, and I think you, Eugene, get the value there. Worldwide average, 90% of the value is being lost. And what does that mean? What does that actually mean? It means the business changes or isn't held up. Okay, so the business, let's call it a flippin' great car wash, is good when grandpa's looking after it and he's made millions through his great car wash. But the son only kind of half wants to work in a car wash. He also wants to go and learn to fly, or he wants to go and do other stuff, right? And so 30%, at best, 30% of the value of the car wash is destroyed because there's fewer customers, there's less interest from the new owner, being the Gen X son, and then even worse, from the Gen X son to his kids, 90% it just destroys. Nobody cares about the flipping car wash. Nobody wants to do what the car wash business anymore. They all want to be YouTube influencers, create communities like what I'm doing and what France is doing, what Rob's doing, and Kingdompreneur. Yes, we're all moving on to newer things, but there's the value in those boring, old, valuable businesses is being destroyed. It's being lost. It's vaporizing. Okay. And why is that? It's because no one has an exit strategy. No one even thought about it. I can tell you right now, 3 people that I know have brilliant businesses, and within the next 7 years, not going to be there. Why? Because the 3 owners are the full face of the business. The one he's my uncle. He's in Cape Town. He's got a fantastic construction business, right? He's got a fantastic construction business. He's built Woolworths. He installs and builds Woolworths, KFCs, Ocean Baskets. He builds houses in Bantry Bay in Cape Town. And like, I say to him, like, what are you going to do in the next 10 years when you need to retire? He's like, I said, what are you going to do with the business? No idea. There's no strategy. There's no like, I'm going to sell it to the foreman. I'm going to find someone to buy it. I'm going to give it. He's got 3 kids. Not one of them even sniffed close to the construction industry. So that's one guy. The other one is, there's a aircraft AMO that I think all of you know. He's got 250 clients that in the next 3 to 5 years, if this AMO hasn't figured out who's going to take over his business, those 250 clients, gone. And that is a massive business with so much potential. And it's just going to be dissipated into other people's who knows where. Okay. The other one is a flight school owner that's also about to retire in the next 3 to 5 years. And the whole business is his face. It's a problem. No exit strategy. And what this also does is then when you figure out at the age of 62 that you want to get out of your business, and now you want to know what your business is worth, and now you want to try and sell that business to someone else, you're going to get pennies on the dollar, literally cents on the rand for what your business is really worth. And
Hey, if he's looking for someone to have a look at the flight school, I volunteer as tribute.
you volunteer?
As tribute.
Okay. What does that mean? Tell me.
I mean, if he's looking for a successor, then yeah, I'll volunteer as tribute to have a look.
Well, the opportunity exists, Eugene. Let's go and take a look. Let's go and have a squiz. Definitely. Cool. For sure. Okay, cool. And so that actually leads me to my next question. But anyway, the problem, one of the biggest problems in a SME, a business that one person has built is the one-man band syndrome. All right, it's down here. And the thing is, like, you're the business. Okay, you have no freedom. You've self-employed yourself, and you're not really creating an asset, and you're creating something that you're the bottleneck in, actually. All right. And if you have a business that makes $5 million in the year, but let's say you had to step back and employ someone or a team to do what you do, it's probably going to cost the same amount that you generate just to manage that team, and there's little value left behind, right? And so that's kind of where we need to figure out, like, how much are you worth and how much is your system worth? Okay. And so real profit means, we can all figure out, we can all do our books and get to a profit at the end of the year. Great. But real profit is, if I wasn't there, how much would it really cost? And whatever's left over after that, that's your real value. That's the real profit in your business. Okay. What are the excuses and why people don't go through this, or why people don't avoid this? The one is my kids don't want it. The reality is they don't. You know, some of them will train, but they're gonna bugger off to Australia, and they're gonna be interested in paramedics instead of construction. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. You know. Some of us are lucky enough not to have this problem, and no, none of us have businesses that can be passed to us. So we're making the beauty of that is that we're making something happen now. But so I'm really talking to people that are looking to wait, I tangented there. Rewind. The excuses that the guys have is that the kids don't want it. There's no one to train. You know, no one can do it like I do it. I don't trust people to do this thing. Okay. And therefore I need to be a one-man band. And I can tell you that all of these are just excuses. There is a creative solution to figuring out someone that will take over your business. And this reality check that I don't trust people is more of an ego problem and not a staff or a skill or a training problem. It's just you. It's you. Okay. So what before I carry on, what opportunities does this concept uncover for you guys? And as I've been rambling on here, where does your mind go in terms of your business, and where does your mind go in terms of what could possibly, where are the opportunities in this whole framework that I've outlined?
Yeah, I think the two things is well, firstly, you have to kind of, well, the difference between the owner and the self-employed is you need to set up systems and things that the business runs without you. And I mean, as you correctly said, the kids can own the asset and just kind of get the benefits of it, almost like a silent director or partner or whatever, and get capable people who do want to do the work to run the business. And then this actually ties into your niche investments, is companies like this, where Aviation Wealth Club can look into, like, hey, you have no one to pass this to, we're interested in purchasing it, and to set up something like that, where the, for argument's sake, Aviation Wealth Club buys out the business and gets the right people in to run it.
Yeah, Gene, 3 for 3. Bang.
Yeah, it's going well.
Nice. I'm writing that down just so you know. Leon?
Beautiful.
Yeah, I also think the first thing that started running through my mind is the emphasis that we put in systems and implementing systems, and almost like being religious about the systems in your business. I think it's too easy to shy away from implementing a system in your business and not being engaged to it fully. Like it's easy to just as the owner just pick up the slack on the side and not actually going and saying, no, but this is the system, because if we have a system, it's like flying an aircraft with multi-crew. Like there's an SOP for a reason. So anyone can fly with anyone. That's the system that is created. And I mean, if aviation has taught us anything, is that it's very successful. The airlines that are successful are the airlines that can throw an FO and a captain together, who know the SOP, and they fly like a well-oiled machine, even though they don't know each other. And in business, it's very, very relatable. And I actually, it made me think of something I was listening to Behind the Diary, Stephen Bartlett's other YouTube channel this week, and he said that if anyone asks him in what kind of industry he is, he doesn't tell them he's in investment, he's in this, he says he's in the people acquisition industry.
Yeah.
And trying to surround himself with the right people that are able to take over his business, so he can just focus on managing his business on the side, and he doesn't have to worry about the things that take up the most of his time, because that's not what you're supposed to do as a business owner. So there's like a theme of challenging me to put people in place in business to take over and to let go, like just let go and let them do their thing. So yeah, very cool.
Beautiful. That's exactly it, Leon. I love it. And I didn't even know there was a secret Diary of a CEO podcast. So thank you for enlightening me.
It's called Behind the Diary. I'll send you the it's very cool. Very, very like behind the scenes kind of vibe. It's very cool.
I love Stephen Bartlett. I listen to most of his stuff.
It's cool.
Nice. So the opportunities do exist. And Eugene, you touched on it. Like, it's not just in this country. Like, we actually have businesses listed everywhere. Like in the US, in Europe, in Africa, locally, Centurion. There are businesses listed for sale, ready to go, like profitable entities. And I just want us to wrap our minds around that. To think about, like, yes, we're building our own thing here, and what we need to be cognizant of is not to entomb ourselves in this business. We've got to be able to build something that's got a system, and then once you get that and you can actually step back from the business, then you can go out and actually become the person who's buying another business, putting a manager in it and watching it grow, and buy another business and putting a manager in it and watching it grow. And exactly what Leon was talking about now is that people acquisition process. Okay, so that also all ties into step 5, not step 5, but part 5 of this presentation. So keep watching. Right, so part 3 of this is the exit protocol. These are the steps you can take as a business owner to know and to successfully and efficiently and effectively exit your business and get and get the right number that you need. Does anyone know what happened to France? Did we just lose him?
Yeah, he just popped a message up to say he needs to be excused. He needs to jump off.
Okay, cool. So the first step in this protocol is to know your real number. Like, at any one time, know what your business is worth. I speak to business owners all the time, and I ask them, how much is the actual company worth? And I sit there with a pen waiting for an answer. None of them know. None of them have got a number. Some of them think, it's maybe like 2 million, or I don't have any stock, so I don't know. I don't have any machines, blah, blah. And like, the concept of valuation is very misunderstood. It's like, it's almost pathetic out there. And I'm not saying it's you guys. I'm just saying, like, most business owners out there, either they being too modest, or they really don't understand, or they actually just don't want to tell me. But to be honest, like, if you're going to be effective, you've got to know what your business is worth. Like, if someone walked in the door today and said, here's 50 million bucks for your business, you'd be like, sweet, done. Or you're like, you're smoking your socks, it's worth 2 billion. You've got to know what that number is. Okay. And within that, knowing your real number, the truth is, it doesn't all lie in the profit. Okay, it doesn't all mean, like, because your business is slightly profitable that you've got a value. Okay, it's a good step, but it's not true. It's not 100% true. Also, knowing your metric, like, what is your actual PE ratio, price to earnings ratio, and that's basic. The real basic valuation method that most businesses are valued on is like price to earnings, like how much are your earnings? Okay, cool. How many years does it take for me to get those earnings to make a profit on your business? That's the price to earnings. So let's say your business is worth $1 million, or your business gets $1 million out every year, net profit. Well, for you to pay 5 million means that your price to earnings ratio is 5 to 1. It's going to take you 5 years to break even for buying that business. Okay. Does anyone, you understand PE ratios, Leon?
Yeah.
Eugene, you also, I think you've got a good idea, because you do quite a lot of share trading and stuff. Am I right?
I've got a basic understanding, but yeah.
Gotcha. So give you an idea, PE ratio of shares on the stock exchange. Most shares on the stock exchange trade at about 17 to 22. Okay, meaning that for the value of that share, let's say you buy a share for $100, it's going to take you 17 years to earn enough profit from that share, like in terms of dividends and interest and actual, or it's actually just dividends and income from that share, that's going to take you 17 years to make profit from owning that one share. And shares are the same as buying a whole company. It's just part of a company or a whole company. Yeah. Okay, so that's the very basic PE ratio explanation. I can go into a bit more, but just also the point is, know what your PE ratio is, and it's different across different industries because of the cycles in the businesses in those industries. Okay, so know your PE ratio, know your value of your business. Okay, and yeah, just don't get caught in the revenue trap. Know that profit is king, not just cash flow. Okay, cash flow is king, but profit is the wise man's king. Whatever, you know what I'm saying. All right, step 2. So you now know your actual number. Now decide your exit number. What is that lump sum that you would be happy with selling your business for? And in a single business owner's case, like most of us, that number needs to provide for the rest of my life. Okay, so I need to be able to sell the business and get and invest that lump sum and make sure that that lump sum looks after me, my wife, and my kids if need be, and to be able to, you know, make sure that we don't go hungry. Okay, and or are able to expand. Okay, so know your exit number as a business owner. Another type of exit number is, as someone maybe who starts buying multiple businesses, you then know, like, how do I profit from this business so that I can build up my bankroll or my you know, my total lump sum so that I can then trade another business and go and buy that. So always knowing your exit number before you even buy a new business. I'm tangenting here. I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to talk today just about single business owners. We're going to talk about private equity and multiple business owners as a separate point. I don't want to confuse it. So the goal today is know your exit number as a business owner. So if that's 200 million, 50 million, or R1 billion, know what it is, because that's what you're going to need to maintain the house at Kenton-on-Sea, the 2 Mustangs you want to buy, the airplane, the you know, the house in the bush, and your house here in Joburg, you know, and a trip overseas at least twice a year with the family. Okay, know that budget and how that budget needs to come from a big lump sum of cash that you've got invested. Okay, how do you calculate that number? Who knows? Someone does. A good financial advisor will always be able to tell you that exact number. Like, what do you need to be able to budget for an amazing life? Okay, so if you don't know that number, get in touch with someone who can calculate it for you. Okay.
Do you know a good person, David?
I'll put some numbers on the group a bit later.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
They'll be my numbers. No, but in all honesty, like, that's the value of a good financial planner, and that's the value of France's PFMS as well. Is it'll give you, largely due to very good maths on my part, but it'll give you an exact to the cent number of like how much you need to be putting into your retirement today and into the business today and all those kinds of things to be able to get that exit number and achieve it and be able to live a good life. Okay. And then within the second step is devise your plan of getting from your current value. So maybe your business is currently worth 5 million, but you know it needs to be worth 50 million. How do we close that gap? What does that look like in terms of improving your market size? Does it mean poaching the competitor's sales staff? Does it mean buying the competition? Does it mean scaling your marketing? Does it mean all of those different things? And that plan can be easily come up with the good use of a business coach. So if you haven't got one of those, Rob's your man. Okay, Rob Yates is our elite performance coach, and that plan is very much a part of how you close the gap between 5 million and 50 million, or 50 million and $1 billion. It's up to you. So we've already asked this question. Any new opportunities or any new thoughts around this concept before we carry on? And I do know that we only have 1 minute to go. Any thoughts, or can I quickly carry on? Tell you what I'm going to do. So yeah, I don't want to rush the end of this, and I don't want to give it away. But the problem, the one thing that you can do today in your business is, do you have the manual? Like if you were taken out, let's say driven over by a bus, and the business, what happens to the business? Is the business going to hit the wall, or is it is there a manual that someone can pick up and they can quickly keep the business going? Okay, and does that manual include a good payout to be able to fund this transition from the previous owner that is no longer with us to the new owner? Okay, and people say, well, I've got nothing to write about. Bullshit, excuse my language. You have a lot of IP that you've built up in building your business. You have the relationships, suppliers, customers, all those kinds of things, where there's actually huge value in just those relationships that you've got. And putting those down in a piece of paper or in a book or in a manual gives your business, it starts the system, if you understand what if you understand what I'm saying. Okay, so if you don't have something like that, get to writing it down, because it's time. All right, then once you've got the manual, you then need to employ someone, and you need to employ someone with, and it's a bit of a harsh term, but a golden handcuff. Okay, and golden handcuffs can be in a couple of different forms. They can be in hard and harsh, horrible restraints of trade and non-compete agreements and all those kinds of things. But a better, more conducive way is to actually give that person a opportunity for profit share, an opportunity for share transfer, those kinds of things. So getting it to IC, that is a difficult process in itself, but you also don't want to just give them the IP and all the business so that they can go and start it somewhere themselves. You need to protect your business in the way, it might be contracts, but a better way is maybe a mix of contracts and some sort of incentive to stick around and to use the brand that you've already established, to use the relationships and the systems that are there. And again, how to future-proof your business is to make the system almost no system is not replaceable or not replicable, but very difficult to replicate. Or it's worth much more just to use your system than it is to start a new one. Okay, so make it aligned with their greed and your growth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm actually wondering now how you can, if you have this idea, how to take that to an owner who believes no one can do it the way they can.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where it gets interesting.
Yeah, exactly. But the way the owner is doing it is a system. It's in his head.
Yeah.
But it just needs to be written down, and it needs to be not as irreplaceable as possible or irreplicable as possible, but it doesn't need to be flipping the Carl Zeiss lens that makes the chips for the AI graphics cards. Like, it doesn't need to be that yet. It just needs to be something that is easier just to use yours than it is to go make their own one, if that makes sense. And then at some point, someone's got to buy your business. Okay, so if you don't already have the value and you don't already have all of this stuff, well, once you start getting your value in place, you're getting your 2IC in place, you're getting a couple of things done, you need to be able to market your business to someone who's going to buy it. So whether that's a business partner, whether that's a family member, whether that's someone else, the idea is you've got to be able to market to the monster. So like, what would Bidvest or what would Berkshire Hathaway pay for my business? And how do I make my business one that they would be interested in. Once you've got something like that, then your market opens up wide, because now you're marketable to the biggest guy with the most cash. Then you've got that as leverage to go to other competitors and other people in your industry to sell your business to. Okay. And one of the key things of being able to do that is, how do you corporatize your business? How do you systemize it? Because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for a machine that they can plug into their big machine. They've got copy paste ability. That's a word I coined yesterday. They're not looking for a genius founder. They're looking for a system that they can plug in and that can churn money. That's all they want. So make your business marketable to the monster. Okay. I'm not going to ask this question. Here's part 5. So part 4, this is part 4. What is the one thing that you can do today in your business that will ensure or start to ensure a better transfer of wealth? That's part 4. So after this session, take a pen and piece of paper, and what's the one thing that you can do? I want you to write those 10 things down. Write 20 down if you want to, and then whittle that down to 3, and then whittle that down to 1. What's the one thing, that one domino that's going to click and start that pressure on all the rest of the dominoes, bigger and bigger and bigger, until you've eventually got a proper business that's at the value that you want, that you can then sell to the monster. Part 5, the part 5 that we've all been waiting for. What is the challenge? The challenge is, you need to fire yourself. You need to remove yourself as the glue that holds your company together. You need to stop solving problems. So if your staff is there and they're coming to you with nitty-gritty issues and problems that are not on your level, like they've got the ability and the system to figure these things out on their own, you need to stop answering those emails. You need to be unavailable. I know this sounds harsh, and it sounds counterintuitive to what everybody in the last 30 years has all been talking about, an open door strategy and an open plan office, and I'm your guy and blah, blah, blah. That's great in the beginning, for sure. But that's great when your team is 4 people and you need to employ and work with those 4 people, for sure. But once your team becomes 20, 30 people big, you still need your open door policy to the core 4 or 5. But as soon as anyone comes from outside of that core 5, they need to be dealing with their manager or their system that you've given them to be able to solve their problems. And the one biggest thing that's stopping owners from doing this is ego. They have a fear that they are not going to be needed in the business. People like being needed. I have it. I love to be needed. Come to me with your problems. I'll help you solve them. It's a big weakness. It's great, and it also relates to what it's great for when you've got a customer and you're solving a massive problem for the customer. But it also relates to what France was talking about earlier. Is like, don't just give away your big value to someone that's got a problem that's not on your level, because then you're just wasting your time. It's the most vital thing we have to do. We have to work towards removing ourselves from this company. We need to stop answering nitty-gritty, shitty emails. We need to stop solving problems for the staff that you need to empower, because basically you're enabling them if you don't. And then the method is let them fail small. That's fine. Like a little bugger up in the business is a much smaller risk to 5 or 10 or 20 or 15 years from now, and you're the only person that knows how to do anything in your business. That's a huge risk. The small little bugger up that this guy's going to do in your business, where he pisses a client off or maybe even loses 1 or 2 clients, it's not the end of the world. Your business needs to be able to sustain that. Why? Because it's got good people, it's got good systems, and it's working towards a goal. Okay? So let the people fail small. And just to kind of give you an idea, the 4-year-old with a jacket, if you tell the child to take the jacket before he goes outside, This is from a coaching book that I read about 15 years ago, and it stuck with me. If you tell them every time they go outside that it's cold outside, they need a jacket, guess what? They're going to wait for you to tell them every single time. If you just let that kid go outside, hopefully he doesn't freeze. But if he goes outside and he decides, actually, shit, this is cold, I need a jacket, he's going to run back inside and he's going to create a core memory and a habit of getting his own jacket before going outside. And that's the kind of thinking you need to be able to do with people in your business. We need the 4-year-olds that run outside with their jackets, because that's the system. In closing, I've got this nice PDF for you guys. So I'm going to send this to everyone on the group, and it just highlights the steps that we've gone through and how you can use this one-page PDF to restructure and to think about your exit strategy. Because why? Everyone's going to exit at some point. It's like death and taxes. So figure out your number. Let's get you there, and let's get you on the road. Thank you, Leah. That's the presentation. How do you like?
Nice. Very, very cool. Very thought-provoking.
I thought that was a good topic for us today, just because it's relevant. This is what's happening currently, and I'm seeing it day to day. So yeah, I'd like to get more people involved. And Eugene, to answer your question, let's go. It's someone close by. We can go and see.
I have an idea. Yeah, I think I know who you. Who you're talking about. And
it's just they're involved with Jabberoos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're close to where I'm going to end up staying. So
exactly.
What I meant with, I'd actually like to figure out how to present this to a business owner. I'm thinking in Tineke's case now. I mean, the two owners built the clinic up from scratch for 30 years, and they're exactly that. They are the face of a company. The lady thinks only she can run the company, only she can do anything, and I mean, they're entering their 60s now. I mean, vets don't really retire, but the typical thing is hit by a bus. What's going to happen then? But to take the logical thing and present it in a way that what's the word for the type of personality? Okay, let's not be ugly, but
it's an ego problem. They think that they're the only person, and they can't see the problem with being just that person.
Yeah, exactly. So my thoughts actually going now in a direction of how do you present this to them to be so that they know someone has to take over, but they don't want to. They know the end goal, but they don't know how to get there, and they also don't want to admit that things need to move in that direction. So something to ponder.
I love it. You and I will talk after this. All right.
Okay, cool.
I've got a meeting now, but during the day. Okay.
Okay. Lekker.
Leon, closing thoughts. Something you liked and something you learned.
I think the concepts, and that's always the nice thing with these kinds of events and stuff, is the concepts aren't foreign to you if you've been in business, and like reading and listening to the same kind of podcast. We have the same kind of people that we listen to and so on, and you have the same kind of influences, but you forget about it. And I think it's the action of actually going and figuring out, but what is your exit strategy? What are you working towards, and how are you going to get there? I think it's a nice reminder to just take it a bit more seriously and to think about it a bit more intensely, and to actually go and then figuring out where we're going. So that's my takeaway for today. That's just
I love it. I love it. Both you and Eugene are in the ideal situation now, where you're still building your things. Eugene's building a property portfolio. You've got, I don't know, multiple businesses that you run, but you've got the time. You know, you've got a good, however many years you want to still work for, and it's not like it's super urgent. There's other guys in this aviation wealth club where the next 10 years, that's it, you know.
Yeah.
And we need to figure this out. So the beauty is that you can, I'm glad I'm giving you this sort of structure to think about so that you don't get caught in the same trap.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. So my takeaway, very, very valuable. Thank you.
Very nice. Okay, so with that, gentlemen and ladies who might be watching this as a recording, we thank you very much for your time, and we are just over time, I think. Yeah. Oh, in fact, we are. So yeah, thank you very much for everybody's time, and I'm going to stop recording. Have a fantastic day. You guys don't have to leave right away. I'm just going to stop the recording.